Brampton home prices are still lower than Mississauga's. It's still one of the few GTA cities out there where you can buy a detached house for under $1 million right now. But despite that, many buyers still keep avoiding it, and sellers, they're struggling to get some traction. So is Brampton actually a smart place to buy in 2025? In the video, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to break down everything you need to know about potentially living in Brampton, the price trends, the pros and cons of living in Brampton, and a strategy that sellers in this market need to hear if they want to avoid sitting on the market for 60, 90, or longer on the market today. Now, the truth about Brampton prices in 2025, the prices right now, according to Zillow, the average is $948,000. Wawa puts it a little bit higher at $951,000. So we'll call it $950,000 is the average home price in Brampton. So we're basically in that same ballpark between the two spots. Now here's where it gets a little bit interesting. Sales are actually down 39% compared to last year. Active listings, well, they're up 29%, and the time on market to actually sell a home is 27 days right now. That tells us a few different things as we're looking at the numbers here. There's more inventory than the demand. Sellers, they're listing. Buyers, they're not jumping at the opportunity to buy a house in Brampton right now. Homes that are sitting are likely overpriced or poorly presented at the end of the day here. But we're not seeing a massive price collapse just yet in Brampton. In fact, some of the data is actually showing that in the last month, the detached home prices have slightly gone up. We're talking 1%, but it's still a positive price increase and not the negative that we're seeing in a lot of the headlines. Now, the homes that are actually holding value right now are the well-maintained homes, the ones that have those basement units, and compared to a place like Toronto, where the average home is still around $1.1 million just to get in the market, cost per square foot is almost double. So if you're buying based on fundamentals, space, potential income in the rental side of things, Brampton still offers some reasonable value for people if you're looking to buy a detached home. But you might be asking yourself, who's actually buying in Brampton? We've had videos on this channel about why people are actually leaving Brampton, but there are people who are choosing Brampton as well. Now, we want to talk about that. The real buyer profiles in Brampton right now, they're first-time home buyers. They're still trying to get into the market because you can buy a townhome, whether it's a condo or a freehold townhome, for less than $800,000, sometimes in that $600,000 to $700,000 price range. Move-up buyers are also looking at the ability to get something in Brampton right now, and maybe they're in Mississauga or Toronto. Their value is going to go a lot further. That $1.3 or $1.5 million home that was in Mississauga is now going to look a lot nicer in Brampton. So these are the buyers that are really popping up in Brampton, at least when we're looking at things on our end. And of course, there's investors. There's a lot of them that have decided to, hey, let's just avoid the market altogether right now because it doesn't look so great. But because Brampton does have a lot of these properties that have rental suites, and of course legal ones are the ones that you want to actually look for if you're going to invest in something, they're attractive to investors. You might be able to almost cover all your expenses, maybe put a little bit of money in your pocket if you're looking to buy something that has potential for a basement and upper rental as well. Looking for something cash flow positive is what the investors are looking for. There's a lot of people, obviously, if you're looking out there, you see the comments on Reddit, on TikTok, people don't want to be in Brampton whatsoever. But fundamentally, some properties, they still make sense to buy. And some people grew up in Brampton, they live there, they love what Brampton still is. And these are the people who continually want to live in Brampton. Not everybody's like that. That's why we have a video right here that you can watch why people are leaving Brampton. We end up dealing with a lot of clients who decide that Brampton's not for them. And if that sounds like you, maybe you want to check out that video up here. But there are always people in every city that love it and that will continue to stay there even if they are selling one property and moving to the next. They prefer to stay in an area where they're ultimately most comfortable. Now, despite all that online hate, people are choosing Brampton for a few different reasons in 2025. Affordability. Brampton, it gives you what most GTA cities ultimately don't give you. 2,000 square feet, tons of space, a detached home, a garage, a yard, all under $1 million right now. These are all unheard of almost everywhere else. In Vaughan, that's going to be $1.4 million. Mississauga, $1.2 million. Milton might be $1.1 million right now and quickly rising in Milton. People are also staying or choosing Brampton because it's multi-generational living. Over 62% of Brampton's population is born outside of Canada. That may shock some, that might not shock others, but this is very common. Multifamily households, properties with, of course, these income suites or suites for in-laws to actually live there is allowing people to buy homes in a city like Brampton right now. It's fueling some stability, and it's obviously keeping the prices in these pockets a little bit more stable than you might think. Transit access is the third reason why ultimately people are choosing Brampton over some of the other areas like a Milton. You have the Mount Pleasant GO station. It's going to get you to Union Station in less than an hour. It's going to take you roughly 50 minutes to go from Brampton to Toronto. It's not perfect, but for some people who work downtown Toronto, it makes a lot of sense, and it's actually better than some of the communities in Scarborough or North York, especially if you're relying on the TTC instead. It might not be something that makes a whole ton of sense for you. Brampton might work, and ultimately there's going to be drawbacks, whether it's the GO station, the TTC, Brampton, North York, but it's one of the reasons why people are choosing Brampton, the commutability. Now, the fourth reason why people end up choosing Brampton is community and culture. Brampton, it has one of the most multicultural scenes in the GTA by far. You're going to find food, festivals, different places of worship, community hubs that are going to relate to you potentially, and that's going to be a big draw for some people. Now, the flip side, there's definitely some reasons why people are scared off of Brampton, and we're going to talk about some of those as well. They've been touched on in the other videos, but the perceived crime in Brampton, statistically, according to Area Vibes, Brampton's crime rate is 30%, and that's actually below the national average. But user-submitted perception online on sites like Noembo, you're going to see people assuming that the Brampton crime is a lot higher than it actually is based on other cities. The crime index here is 55.5. The safety index is 44.5. The biggest concerns on the crime side of things in Brampton is car theft, property crime, and then drug activity. It's important to note that the perception does affect the price. Whether it actually has a high crime percentage, it doesn't necessarily matter as much as what that perception is for people. And right now, Brampton's perception is that it does have more crime than other places. If the buyers feel like the area is not safe, they're not going to choose to live there. At the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to. They're going to lowball the offers if they are going to want to live in Brampton and utilize some of this as a tactic to get a better price. Traffic and car insurance, these are two things that are just outrageous in Brampton right now. Brampton has the highest insurance rates in Ontario. The average driver pays over $2,400 a year, more than double some of the other cities across the GTA and in Ontario. The infrastructure has not kept up with the population growth. If you want to get across Brampton, it's going to take you half an hour to go from one side of Brampton to the other or more. Thirdly, the online stigma that we talked about earlier. If you search, should I move to Brampton on Reddit or on YouTube, you're going to find content out there that says, do not move to Brampton. This matters. People coming from downtown Toronto, maybe some new immigrants using Google, which everybody's going to use, are going to research areas and they're going to come across that. And that's going to impact not only the prices of the homes, but their decision to actually move to a place like this. Now, Brampton, yes, if you're going to choose to live there, there's some areas that personally I like best. Obviously, anybody who's lived in Brampton might have preferences, but here is where some of the money is going based on home sales that we're seeing. Mount Pleasant area, of course, it's great. If you're a commuter, you got the GO station there, newer homes, some reasonably decent school options. All school options can be hit or miss, but being close to transit is a really big thing for people. Second is downtown Brampton. I do love the older homes downtown Brampton. There's a lot to like about those homes. There's a lot of repairs that some of them need, but your value down there is going to be strong. You're going to have good rental returns, and it's ideal for house hacking because you have a lot of these old school bungalows where you can really divide up the house a little bit more smoothly than a new detached home that you're going to see today. And Fletcher's Meadow, family-friendly area. It's got stable pricing. It's got a ton of parks. It's going to be a very popular area. We see a lot of transactions happening out of that area right now. And of course, if you want a little bit more of a pricey area in Brampton, Credit Valley, Castlemore area, definitely more expensive side of things, but you're going to get the prestige, you're going to get a better street appeal, you're going to avoid areas that have these legal basement units if that's something you want to actually avoid yourself, and the overly customized interiors that limit the mass appeal. You're going to avoid things like that, and of course, you're not going to be backing onto high commercial, high traffic areas, so it's going to feel like you're buying a home in an area where the value actually feels like you're getting something pretty reasonable for your money. Now, Brampton, if you're a seller, there's some struggles. right now, trying to get your home sold. We want to kind of wrap this all up in a bow with how can you actually get your home sold properly in today's market, because you can just put it on MLS, hope it gets purchased, whether it takes you 30, 60, 90, 120 days, a year, whatever that looks like for you. But ultimately, what you really need to focus on is pricing, presentation, and if you have something like a legal basement apartment, you should really be utilizing that to make sure you are going to get the attraction from the buyers, to make sure you're going to get the best value for your home. Ultimately, utilize the things that are specific to your home, whether it's the area, whether you do a pre-listing home inspection. Emphasize all of these things to get that top dollar for your home. This strategy is always going to help you get a little bit more showings, but also it's going to get you better offers at the end of the day. Now, Brampton, of course, it's not for everybody, but buyers who are choosing it right now are still choosing it confidently. It's going to get you more value for your money than Toronto. You're still going to have access to transit options, and ultimately, this might be the perfect spot for you if a lot of these things in Brampton do appeal to you. Now, if you're interested in why people are really just avoiding Brampton altogether, you can watch this video right here. Or if you live in Brampton and you're just most curious on where people are moving to, check out this one right here. That'll give you all the information you need.